night in London, after another full day of heavy briefing on extraterrestrial material, Pekka had a dream. Strange, vivid. He was inside a rock club. Dim lights, thick air, and on stage, a band of aliens. They called themselves the Extra-Terrestrials. Loud, proud, otherworldly. They were opening for a legendary Finnish group known as Popeda. And in the dream, in some point, Pekka wasn't in the audience anymore. He was on stage with them as an extraterrestrial, as if he'd always been there.
Wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm here to stay, not to go. You say I steal your women. You claim I take your jobs. You got another thing coming. I'm here for rock and roll. I am monumental, not an action doll. This beat makes me to lose my mind. Hail, hail, rock and roll. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm here to stay, not to go. Wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm not an ET, wants to go home. I'm here to stay, not to go, not to go, not to go.
And now, it's time for the next episode of the CSCE tapes.
Before the first contact, there was serious turbulence between extraterrestrial factions about how to deal with humanity. Opinions varied. At first, the continuum insisted on holding back and staying hidden in the shadows. Interference would go against their principles, Life must find its own way, as the Nevada pamphlet claimed. But by the early 70s, things had changed. Because humans weren't just evolving, they were destabilizing everything. Climate, species, biosphere. The continuum had to revise their stance. Intervention was no longer a breach of ethics. It was damage control.
The initiative had seen the danger of waiting already during the Second World War. If humanity destroys itself and others along with it, is that really non-interference, they argued? Or is it negligence? And now, the Cold War was peaking, tensions everywhere.
And Nixon nearly blew it all open with Jackie Gleason case. The two sides had to respond. It wasn't the first time, not even the 15th. The last time this almost tore the galaxy apart, just nearly 200,000 Earth years ago, known as the Cordelis Dilemma. It was the same old principle. Should life be left to rise, or guided before it falls? This time, having learned from Cordelis, they decided to contact the leaders of the problematic species together.
So Nixon got sacked, and at the Helsinki summit, they signed this thing called the K.I.U. deal. That's when they set up the Knowledge Isolation Unit Bureau, K.I.U.B, based in Brussels, of course.
UFO sightings dropped like a rock. Believers were made to look like total morons. No academic jobs, no politics, not if you even mentioned aliens. Witch hunt. Sir. Pat also business model. Töpureau even launched their own toyline to cover costs. All tax-free.
Still, UFOs are occasionally seen. Some of it is intentional, part of a long-term plan to gradually reveal the truth. But not all of it. As previously cited, Arnold Bluffman has claimed, some incidents may simply be the work of less disciplined teenage aliens, unable to resist scaring people. And like humans, even aliens can sometimes be negligent. At the same time, it's only natural not all extraterrestrials recognize intergalactic laws, and some have gone rogue.
After hearing this, I couldn't resist asking. If their technology is so advanced, why the bright lights? Well, the answer is simple, as Zagraus put it. They don't need them. They simply use them because they can.
Once the evidence was buried and the cover story in place, it was time to move on to the real aftermatch. Nuclear weapons. Bad for health, bad for business, no matter the species. And the environment? Well, plenty of issues there too. They also made agreements about certain areas on Earth, zones to be left alone, or restricted for extraterrestrial activity. Amazon Basin, Western Tibet, some ancient structures in the Libyan desert.
Deals were made, threats exchanged, technologies traded. Surveillance protocols were a constant headache. Who gets to peek and from where? Reagan's Star Wars plan in '83, blocked by extraterrestrials. Then came cloning. The continuum got nervous. Life without understanding the blueprint? Very human. Very risky. The genetic protocol of '98 was signed, and mostly ignored. We had initiative backing.
They also told us not to train AI with our own behavior. Too late now. The machines know us better than we do. You know the first Terminator film 1984. Funded by the Continuum. Pure education. This guy said that's fiction.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. K.I.U.B is busier than ever, handling everything from cross-species copyright claims to mineral rights disputes on Mars. petitions, containment reports, even restaurant complaints from visiting entities. Bureaucracy, it turns out, is universal. You wouldn't believe the paperwork, and all of it hidden from public view. And when issues grew too large for the Bureau to contain, another CSCE was scheduled.
Is this just another? Is this just another? Is this just another operation? Mindful this.
After 4 days of briefings, it was time to face the real issues. Environment, mankind's position in the cosmic power struggle, and in the center of it all, Donald J. Trump. In 1987, the Continuum pushed through the ozone protocol. They pressured hard, even hinted they might take matters into their own hands and put Earth under tighter supervision. So much for non-interference.
A terrible deal. Hairsprays and refrigerators have never recovered.
Also, the rapid extinction of other species had become a major concern for the Continuum. And some smaller radical factions even asked, shouldn't humanity be next? Put the rabid dog to sleep before more harm is done. But under the universal laws they respected, they lacked the legal means to act. At least until a certain point.
The Continuum's push for tighter supervision was outrageous. Even the initiative agreed. They had no right to interfere with how the master race of Earth wielded the indisputable power granted to them directly by God. As the Bible says,
Environmental collapse. For the continuum it was a moral wound, something sacred to be violated. For the initiative, it was all just bad coding by the architects, fixable by their engineers and nerds. If only the continuum would stop holding them back. In one day, in a week at least.
One issue towers above all others, the real point of division: climate change. Neither the Continuum nor the initiative question if it is happening. Since the numbers don't lie and they know the planets, the disagreement is about what it means and should they do something about it. The initiative wants a warmer Earth. It suits the biology of most of their supporters. The Continuum pushed for action. Bit by bit, they got climate change on the agenda. It took decades, but eventually public opinion began to shift, even if the results were modest. Of course, some of their supporters weren't saints either. Electric limousines, luxury summits, all in the name of saving the planet. Principles are important, as long as they don't affect the minibar.
But it didn't last. The initiative knew how to hit back, shaping public opinion. Not exactly rocket science. They had laid the groundwork long ago, the World Wide Web. And who wouldn't like a story where no one has to take the blame? Politicians, businessmen, lobbers, all too happy to sing along.
Pekka darling, you must understand. The initiative aren't mindless monsters. They know what they're doing. They want everything to prosper. And for their biology and economy, that means a warmer climate. The human method? Fossil fuels. Dirty, inefficient, slow, but easy and cheap. Plus, why reveal climate compressor devices to humans when warming proceeds naturally?
Wait a minute. I said to the group, as I am an engineer, a climate compressor. Maybe that's the answer.
Yes. The initiative is a leading pioneer in planetary climate compression, a technique bringing rapid atmospheric stabilization to failing biospheres. Elegant, efficient, scalable.
The Continuum is strongly against it. They see it as manipulation, tampering with the work of the architects. It disrupts natural evolution, and in the long run, they claim, the planets probably wither before their time, like an over-oxygenated oven. A naive and ideological view, the initiative says, controversial, unproven.
There is no point in arguing with this one, as it's not needed on Earth at the moment. It's heating up nicely all by itself, like a sauna.
But that was before all the rules changed. Overnight, there was a new sheriff in town. Daddy was home. In 2015, the initiative introduced a new player they had been watching for a long time, Donald J. Trump, a man to tell the continuum they were wrong.
Stable genius.
It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people.
Trump is known for his out-of-the-box thinking. He questions the rigid dogmas of mainstream science and politics and offers far simpler solutions. Instinctive, effortless. As if the answers had always been there, waiting for someone bold enough to say them aloud.
Okay, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
He totally blew up the climate issue with 3 simple statements. First of all, warming isn't a problem, it's an opportunity, just as the initiative claims.
When I hear these people talking about global warming, that's the global warming you have to worry about, not that the ocean's going to rise in 400 years an eighth of an inch and you'll have more seafront property, right, if that happens. I said, is that good or bad? I said, isn't that a good thing? If I have a little property on the ocean, I have a little bit more property, I have a little bit more ocean.
Second, if things do heat up, there's a fix already available. And third, perfecting the previous solution. Go back in time before science ruined everything. Bring back the old chemicals to really cool it down.
But I hear where they don't want me to use hairspray, they want me to use the pump. Because the other one, which I really like better than going bing, 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 and then it comes out in big globs, right? And you're stuck in your hair and you say, oh my God, I gotta take a shower again, my hair's all screwed up, right? I want to use hairspray. They say don't use hairspray, it's bad for the ozone. So I'm sitting in this concealed apartment, this concealed unit. Yeah, I really do live in a very nice apartment, right? But it's sealed. It's beautiful. I don't think anything gets out. And I'm not supposed to be using hairspray.
But then again, Trump also says the whole thing is fake news. There is no climate change. Actually, there is no climate, just weather. Sunny days, rainy days, winter, summer, and so on. That's all there is. And anyways, it's gonna be the best climate ever.
Eman vitsats believe in the power of language. If people just stopped using the word climate, the problem itself ceased to exist. It could work. Maybe, if the environment is listening. I wasn't convinced at first.
Pekka, like many Europeans, had long trusted the narrow narrative of the left-wing fake media, repeating mainstream propaganda, like parrots. According to them, Donald J. Trump was a sociopathic narcissist, senile, a liar, cognitive level of a 7-year-old child, maximum, Putin's fishing buddy, A man who drank water with 2 hands and suggested injecting disinfectant into your lungs. Clearly, not the behavior of a stable genius.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid.
But that's what they want you to think. Tripod Group showed Pekka another angle. What if it is all intentional? 5D chess, as some suggested? Yes, he talks like a moron. Yes, he acts like an idiot. Whenever he opens his mouth, he shows his total lack of understanding of the simplest things in the world. But that's the point. It's a calculated buffoonery.
The extraterrestrials are logical, predictive, efficient. They map out responses, anticipate counter-moves, but they don't anticipate Trump, disinfectant, airports in 1775, too much noise, too many contradictions. He breaks the pattern, they can't process him. Trump is the virus in their code, and that is the strategy.
He makes them short-circuit. I kinda like that. I didn't vote for him. But maybe I should have. I think I voted for Sauli Niinistö that time.
In this point, the group revealed the truth behind the 2020 election. Trump knew the stakes. The Continuum faction was gaining power fast. He had 2 options. Win by any means necessary, even if it meant abandoning democracy itself. As much as it hurt him, a committed defender of the very principle. Because he believed without victory, America was lost, and then humanity was lost. Or if he would lose, be branded a traitor, evil villain, a criminal. But even that was part of the plan. Losing wasn't failure, it was camouflage. He walked away into exile. Let the Continuum and other enemies think he was finished. But in the shadows, he was regrouping, forging new alliances, strengthening the old ones, preparing for phase 4. Second term, coming back stronger than ever. The all-time accord, TATA, would be signed. Now Pekka's official training period was over. It had been quite a week. He was now Tripod Plus, in the periphery but connected, close enough to meet the core, face to face. As the final saying, Pekka was told,
No more secrets. Truth will be revealed soon, and we are all part of that. With our findings, with the tapes, it is time to stand tall again. For business to blossom, for hairsprays to be great again.
At least no one to preach to my ear. No psychiatrist to run me wild. A guru to tell me why.
No more wars. The great leader ends them all on day 1. No more hippie nonsense. No more fake news. The false media will be shut down. Back to the true spirit of the 50s. Make Earth great again, in alliance with the initiative. Exciting times lie ahead. The age of the Continuum and hiding the alien presence must end. Not to share Earth, but to expand. To Mars, beyond. Everything will change.
Tonight I'll ride to Mars. Tonight I'll ride to Mars.
yes, the public needed to know, but the reveal could not come all at once. It would be in doses, carefully administered, controlled leaks. narratives to prepare the ground, as had been since Roswell, but now turbocharged. Tripod Group had gathered much, but they needed more proof for their document, more footage, more data, more truth. Too much of what they had was wild speculation, so they split again. Each returned to their base of operations. Pekka flew back to Finland and drove east to Imatra. The rain followed him all the way.
I was a different man now. Not the same Pekka who left Finland. Like the Apostle Paul after his trip to Damascus. But as with Paul, it was not over. It was just beginning. I was not the Jedi yet. Confront Vader I must.
But the group, they were waiting for signals from Switzerland, from Herr Kitzbühel. Something new, not just words, but something real. Not just more speculation, but a clue, a trail to follow. Because the great leader's plan was no longer to hide the cards, but to play them all face up, in 5 dimension, as always.
What do I need? At least no one a priest in my ear. No psychiatrist to run me wild. A guru to tell me why. Rock and roll. CSCE. CSCE. CSCE.
Stay cool. CSCE.